Class, in this video I'm going to show you a couple different ways to animate your slides or give the perception that they're animated. So I'm going to go up to Insert here, and we have the animation right there, but I'm going to click the object first. So in this case, if I want to animate this, I'd have to click it first. But the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a shape here, and it can be a rectangle, rounded, it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to create it to be about this size. And this is important that you don't mess this part up. You want to make sure it'll be able to cover everything without overlapping your lines and things like that. Make sure you do your due diligence here to make sure it looks good. Okay. The other thing we're going to do here is we're going to go into here, and if we put transparent, it's going to disappear on us. So what we want to do, and we're going to go back up to that paint bucket tool and instead do custom with this plus sign. And you see this A over here, so it's RGB, which is the classic color scheme, metrics. Alpha stands for A, which is the way of saying transparency. When it's 100%, it's not transparent. So we can move this along, because basically we want to be able to see the text, but we also want the user to know we're focused on this area. So what we can do here is put that in. And now you can see we have a little bit of color differentiation. Right? So now I can say, hey, we're talking about this area, you know, something like that. If you want to go back into that paint tool and change it some more, get that alpha just right. Now we made it a little bit darker and such. So you can go up to Insert at this point and do an animation such as a fly in or appear. Fly from left is common, and then you go from there. So what will happen is, here's my presentation. Because I have it set on click, it comes in like that. Now some people like to just do the appear, and you can play around with this appear as well, but it can be fast, so we'll just play around with that for a second. Again on click, and then it just appears. So there's another option. Whoops. Add animation there. Fade in, because fade in will give you a timer where you can do, like, when you click here, you see 3 seconds, 2 seconds, how long it'll take. You can fade in there. So see how it's fading in? A little slow, but you can play around with your tempos. The other thing you can do is you can take this and copy it over here. So now you're taking this again, and I'm going to be a little sloppy here because the point is to show you that these features exist. It's your job to tweak them to make them look perfect. So what I want to do next is I want to create an animation for this one. So animation, I'm going to do the fade in effect. This one here, I'm going to create an animation. Fade in. And then over here, animation, fade in. Okay, now the difference here is these are all with clicks. So if we set this up correctly, they won't fire off at once. So we're going to hit play. I'll do my first click. You talk a little bit. Then you do another click. There's the next one. There's the next one. And then there's the next one. Now you might say that could get confusing because now we have all these. Well, what you simply do is you do a fade out effect. Okay, so insert again, animation. This time we're going to do a fade out, but also this time I'm going to move this one up here, and now what I'm going to do is for on click, I'm going to put with previous. Okay, now I'll show you what happens here when we do this. So my first click gets the box. You talk about it in your presentation. You click again, it disappears, and the next one comes here. Now, I didn't set these other ones up. I just showed you how to do these first two, but you would replicate it the same way with a fade out for each of those. That's how you can do this. Okay? There's another option here. It's actually quite simple when you're repeating a process. We're going to delete all of these. We're going to keep this one here. And I'll show you what this means here. So you click here. Hey everybody, this is the one we're talking about today, blah, 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 on this slide, blah, blah, blah. And then you click, you go to the next slide. Well, you don't want that. Well, what I recommend you do in this case, and it only works when you have the same slide that you're playing with, is create 4. And then just move this one on the second one. Move this one on the third one. Move this one on the fourth one. This is kind of a Retaichik cheat, if you will. So now you start, hey everybody, or you can get rid of that animation altogether. You don't need it anymore. In this scenario, boom, boom. You don't need any animations here. Hey everybody, we're talking about this one, blah, blah, blah. Okay, moving on to the prediction model, moving on to the data visualization model, etc. Now, because I copied these before getting rid of these, that's why I was a little slow there. So we'll just go through and get rid of these. And then you'll see that it turns out to be very crisp. Again, be very careful as your teacher. Make sure that this lines up properly and you don't have any goofball stuff happening. Okay, so slideshow. Hey everybody, we're talking about this one. 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 Moving on. So those are 2 ways to get that done.